Hey y'all, Gabe the Nutritionist here. I'm making a video about mold. I think it's important to make this video because when you look at the weather in the United States, people are going through flooding, right? Hurricanes, tornadoes, storms that are pretty bad and they damage your homes. And especially if you live on the coastal areas where you have really high humidity. So what does it all mean? Yeah, certain people, they get very sick, they get brain fog, they can't think, they can't really operate. Some people have low energy, they can't get out of bed no matter what they do. They eat healthier, they, do stimulants, and it's just not enough. You can't get out of bed. You go to work, you're miserable because you just don't have the energy to even work or be with your family. So you go to the doctor, you get your testing, things are okay. Maybe you have low B12, maybe you have low zinc, and that's a small piece of it. But something a doctor will never ever test you for, unless you're, a person that has a really good doctor, like a functional medicine doctor, or someone who's really caring, smart, and, understands allopathic medicine, is blind spots. So the blind spot I'm talking about, right, is going to a doctor and getting tested for mold. Now, doctors may test you for candida, just simple candida, right? But they'll never test you for different strains of mold, right? Because you got black mold, green mold, blue mold. You've seen all the crazy molds out there. You have Zero Leone. That one's bad for women with breast cancer and estrogen problems. You have other strains like Penicillium, actually, right? Although we know it's a drug, it helps you with bacteria. It kills bacteria, right? It's synthesized from mold. But you can have Penicillium as a mold growing in your small intestines, growing in your gut, and it's killing off all your probiotics, right? All your good bacteria, your bifido, your lactobacillus. It can kill it all and leave a byproduct known as mycophenolic acid, and that can cause pain. So when it comes to mold, there's all sorts of different symptoms, right? So what do you do when you're sick with mold, right? Well, now that you've gone to the doctor, they told you you're okay, they're gonna make you think you're crazy, right? You have all these symptoms, running all these tests, but they never check for mold, right? So obviously to them, it's not a problem. It doesn't exist. It's all in your head. But like I say, right? You're not crazy. You're not weak. You're not lazy. You just never got a test to see if you have mold. So something I'm doing right as a pivot is because, the weather's been crazy. People are, losing their homes. They're getting flooded. And through reconstruction, right? People are getting mold, in their drywall. They're getting mold in enclosed spaces in their housing. And it's not a good thing because you breathe in that mold, right? And it spores. So kind of like a plant gives off pollen, in a sense, mold does that. So although it's just some spots on the wall, on the floor, or maybe, in the garage, right? Just breathing it in introduces it into your body. So you can have mold colonizing your nose, parts of your stomach, and your intestines, which is not a good thing. And over time, you may get sicker, right? But the thing is, it doesn't necessarily have to be, your home, right? It could be your office, your workspace. You go, you work, maybe there's a moldy vent, the ventilation's throwing all the stuff out, and you're getting sick with mold, right? And maybe you're the only one who's sick, or maybe other people are sick too, right? But depending on your genes, you could be horrible at, detoxing mold, so you're gonna need a lot of support. But like I tell people, right, before we continue, before we understand this, do you have mold, right? Because you could have heavy metals like mercury, lead, cadmium, depending on your exposures and your lifestyle and what you've been through. So offer testing for people to find out if they have mold, right? If they get heavy metals through hair tissue mineral analysis, often help people understand if maybe it's, chemicals, right? Maybe you live in farmland and the runoff of glyphosate, paraquat, and other, pesticides that were banned, right? It could be affecting you. So we don't know for sure, right? So it's important that you run all these tests to figure out what your problem is. Because again, right, I've had clients, right? I've had people, and I've heard of other people, right, who specialize in gut testing, that they've had people for 5-10 years, they've done everything, they never check for mold, and mold's always the last thing they do, right? So to prevent pain, right, to prevent the loss of time, to prevent all this, I recommend people, right, if you think you're this kind of person affected by mold, then in the DMs, I'll contact you, right? Just comment help and then follow me. And I'll send you a link to a intro consultation with me so we could talk about, what's going on with you. Because you may not have mold, right? And I can save you a lot of money there. But if you do have mold and I recommend testing, then we're going to get you testing. We're going to get you through that. And then I'm going to consult with you with what the test becomes, right? Because you could have one kind of mold, you could have 5 different kinds of mold, or maybe you're mold free and you have heavy metals. So we got a different paths, right? And that sucks, right? Because I've had people come to me thinking they have mold and it's glyphosate. And what they all have in common, right, is they ruin your gut. You ruin your gut, you get leaky gut, then you have lipopolysaccharides, you have food particles going into your bloodstream, and you get the symptoms, you feel sick, you're not happy, right? So at the end of the day, right, really, when you're exposed to mold, heavy metals, even parasites, right, but we don't really do parasites as much. That's a whole different topic, whole different thing. I don't find it to be the biggest issue for a lot of people, because usually it's always the one you never look for, and that's going to be mold. All right, so if you think this is you want help, I want you to comment help, follow me, and then I'll reach out to you, I'll send you a DM, and we can have a small intro consultation. I'll figure out what the right path is for you, if you do or don't need testing, so I can help you, right? Because again, right, there's a lot of other people that do what I do. I'm pivoting to this gut health space, although I specialize in type 2 diabetes and remission and, blood sugar, right? It's because there's really not a lot of people doing gut stuff. It's a really big issue. It's growing. So, yeah, I'd be happy to help you. And yeah, please like, follow, subscribe, and share this video, because if you live in the Midwest, right, in the United States, and you're going through all the storms, through all the weather damage, all that kind of stuff, the mold can be growing. So I tell people, right, check your housing, check your workplace, look for the spots, black spots, they could be green spots, yellow spots, because mold is different and it's very, very various and sparse in how it grows. So if you can, yeah, please follow me, like, subscribe, because again, this is a big message, because it's one of those things that's affecting a lot of people and they don't even know it. So, like I say, you're not weak, you're not crazy, and you're not lazy. You probably have mold affecting your body's trying to fight it, and it needs more help to fight it. All right, love y'all, take it easy, goodbye.